On commuters as some taxi operators are on strike in the Western Cape today. Two local taxi associations are involved in a dispute with the South African National Taxi Council on various issues, including the impact of the high fuel price and route invasions. In a joint statement, the taxi associations CATA and Codeta said that their demands have not been replied to by government and they've been left with no choice but to withdraw their services. And we're going to cross live now to Mariska Botha, who's our reporter in Cape Town. She's at a taxi rank in Khayelitsha. Mariska, good morning. So what is the situation there this morning?
Good morning to you. Yes, we're coming to you from a very cold Khayelitsha this morning. And this, of course, is one of the busiest taxi ranks on any given day in Cape Town, here inside sea in Khayelitsha. But now, of course, it's deserted. A little bit earlier, we went round to the station where people are queuing to try and get a train. But, of course, those services also are not what they're supposed to be. But tens of thousands of people affected this morning by this taxi strike. But to talk to us a little bit more and explain it to us, we have Mr. Bisuto Ndongani, and he's the spokesperson for the minibus industry taxi task team. Mr. Ndongani, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Sir, how did this strike come about? Why was the decision taken to remove services?
This came from the judgment that was delivered by the Western Cape High Court that the abolishment of the WCPTC constitution was invalid. Therefore, we then requested from the National Office of Santaco to allow the province a pre-election conference that will ensure that it is inclusive of every minibus taxi operator that is mandated by a registered taxi association to participate. The national office has refused to allow us. Instead, they wanted to persuade us to consider a taxi in Daba, which their view is also supported by the Western Cape Department of Transport, that is the MEC Donald Grant.
But on the ground, what are the issues for your organizations to have decided to say, now we're not rendering services? What are the core issues that are plaguing the two associations?
The Western Cape is left with no leadership. There is no leadership in the minibus taxi industry in the Western Cape. I am standing here now speaking on behalf of the minibus taxi industry, of which if there is a leadership, that is the one that is supposed to even be responding on that. The reason why we are saying, MSC, this thing is very serious. We cannot continue with a province that is leadership-less.
And is that in the industry itself? Do you feel there's no leadership within the industry? Where does the problem lie?
There is no leadership in the Western Cape, and the problem has been that the minibus taxi leadership in the Western Cape, Santaco Provincial, has been defunct for many, many years. And we've been raising this thing. There must be a pre-election conference that will have to make sure that there are clear terms of reference on how the regional and provincial elections are going to be executed.
And what are some of the other concerns that we heard that price fuel increases? Speak to us about some of the other issues that the industry is facing.
Violence, route invasions, the fuel increases, all those things. We require a leadership that will be able to advocate the interests of the commuters as well as the interests of the operators, because now we are just doing charity. We're not making money at all. This is just a charity. Remember, we are running a business that is not being subsidized by government. I tell you, you remove the subsidy from gaps from the trains. You see if they will be able to perform the task that they are given. Therefore, we are then saying to the government, we are playing here. Every day we are just coming and assisting people to get to work. We're not making money. Interest rate is killing us. All these things are actually killing us. Now we need a leadership that's going to be advocating for the interests of our people.
And then, of course, we saw some violence this morning. 3 buses were torched. Can you speak to us about that? Do you know if it's any of your members that participated in that?
I will distance each and every operator from any issues of violence. This is meant to be peaceful, as you can see in the rank. No minibus taxi operator is expected to be intimidating or interfering with any a movement of anyone, whether it's a bus or a commuter. We cannot say to the people, consider alternative means of transportation, and then we still interfere with the same.
So how long do you expect this strike to continue?
That kind of a question must be answered by the MEC of Transport. He must tell the Cape Townians how long is this thing going to happen. He is the one that is holding the key.
Thank you very much, Mr. Besutu Ndongani of the minibus taxi industry task team, speaking to us there. As he explained, there are a myriad of issues facing several of the organizations within the taxi industry, but that, of course, has left tens of thousands of people stranded this morning. And the biggest concern we heard when we spoke to commuters earlier is their worry about their jobs. Many of them pleading to let employers know that there's not much they can do at this stage. We saw people queuing at the local train station, hoping to catch a train from Khayelitsha into town. But of course, that could take several hours. We spoke to a gentleman who was there since 5 o'clock in the morning, hoping to get a ticket, hoping to get on a train into Cape Town. And of course, that will have a major impact on the number of people that can get into town because the taxis are not operating from here. There are a few ranks that are operating across the city, but most of them are quiet and deserted like this one. And of course, it's having a major impact on a lot of people, especially from the central parts of the Cape Flats, trying to make their way into Cape Town, to jobs, to school and the like.
Well, thank you so much to our reporter Mariska Botha, who's out in Khayelitsha this morning.